Hello and welcome back to Cameron's House. We continue with Sleeping Beauty and Other Stories. Catherine and her destiny. Long ago, there lived a rich merchant who, besides possessing more treasures than any king in the world, had in his hall 3 chairs, one of silver, one of gold, and one of diamonds. But his greatest treasure of all was his only daughter, who was called Catherine. One day, Catherine was sitting in her own room when suddenly the door flew open, and a tall and beautiful woman holding in her hands a little wheel. Catherine, she said, going up to the girl, which she would rather have, a happy youth or happy old age. Catherine was taken by surprise that she didn't know how to enter, and the lady repeated it again. Which would you rather have, a happy youth or a happy old age? Then Catherine thought to herself, if I say a happy youth, then I shall suffer all the rest of my life. No, I would bear trouble now and have something better to look forward to. So she looked up and replied, give me a happy old age. So be it, said the lady, and turned her wheel as she spoke, vanishing the next moment as suddenly as she came. Now this beautiful lady was the destiny of poor Catherine. Only a few days after the merchant heard the news that all his finest ships, laden with the richest merchandise, had been sunk in a storm, and he was left a beggar. The shock was too much for him. He took to his bed, and in a short time he was dead of his disappointment. So poor Catherine was left alone in the world without a penny or a creature to help her. But she was a brave girl and full of spirit, and soon made up her mind that the best thing she could do was to go to the nearest town and become a servant. She lost no time in getting herself ready and did not want to take long over her journey. And as she was passing down the chief street of the town, a noble lady saw her out of the window and, struck by her face, said to her, where are you going all alone, my pretty girl? Ah, my lady, I am very poor and must go service to earn my bread. I will take you into my service, said she, and Catherine served her well. Some time after, her mistress said to Catherine, I am obliged to go out for a long while, and must lock the house door so that no thieves will get in. So she went away, and Catherine took to her work and sat down at the window. Suddenly the door burst open, and it came into her destiny. Oh, so here you are, Catherine. Did you really think I was going to leave you in peace? And as she spoke, she walked to the linen press where Catherine's mistress kept all her finest sheets and underclothes, took everything in pieces, and flung them on the floor. Poor Catherine wrung her hands and wept, for she thought to herself, when will my lady come back and sees all the ruin, she will think it is my fault. And starting up, she fled through the open door. Then Destiny took all the pieces and made them whole again, and put them back in the press, and when everything was tidy, she too left the house. When the mistress took her home, she called Catherine, but Catherine was not there. Can she have robbed me? Thought the old lady. She looked hastily around the house, but nothing was missing. She wondered why Catherine should have disappeared like this, but she heard no more of her. In a few days she filled her place with another girl. Meanwhile, Catherine wandered on and on without knowing where she was going, till at last she came to another town. Just before, a noble lady happened to see her passing her the window and called to her, where are you going all alone, my pretty girl? And Catherine said, oh, my lady, I am very poor, and I must go into service to earn my bread. I will take you into service, said the lady, said Catherine, and Catherine served her well, and hoped she might now be left in peace. But exactly as before, when Catherine was left alone, her destiny came again and spoke to her with hand words. What? Are you here now? In a passion, she tore up everything she saw, till in sheer misery, poor Catherine rushed out of the house. And so befell for 7 years, and whenever Catherine found a fresh place, her destiny came and forced her to leave it. After 7 years, however, Destiny seemed to be tired of persecuting her, and a time of peace set in for Catherine. When she had been chased away from her house by Destiny's wicked pranks, she had taken service with another lady who told her to be part of her daily work to mountain that shadows on the town, and climbing up to the top, she was to lay on the ground some loaves of freshly baked bread and cried with a loud voice, "O Destiny, my mistress," 3 times. Then her lady's Destiny would come along and take away the offering. "That I will gladly do," said Catherine. So the years went by, and Catherine was still there, and every day she climbed the mountain with her basket of bread on her arm. She was happier than she had been, but sometimes when no one saw her, she would weep as she thought of her old life and how different it was now, the one she was leaving. One day, her lady saw her and said, "Catherine, what is it? Why are you always weeping?" And Catherine told her story. "I got an idea," exclaimed the lady. "Tomorrow, when you take the bread to the mountains, you shall pray my Destiny to speak to yours, and entreat her to leave you in peace. Perhaps something may come of it." At these words, Catherine dried her eyes, and the next morning, when she climbed the mountain, she told all she had suffered and cried, "O Destiny of my mistress, pray, I entreat you, my Destiny, and may she leave me in peace." And this Destiny answered, "O my poor girl, know you not your Destiny lies buried underneath 7 coverlets? You can hear nothing, but if you come tomorrow, I will bring her with me." And after Catherine had gone her way, her lady's Destiny went to find her sister and said to her, "Dear sister, has Catherine not suffered enough? It is surely time for her good days to begin." The sister answered, "Tomorrow you shall bring her to me, and I will give you something that may help her out of her need." The next morning, Catherine set out earlier than usual for the mountain, and her lady's Destiny took the girl by the hand and led her to her sister Destiny, who lay under the 7 coverlets. And her lady held out to Catherine a ball of silk, saying, "Keep this, it may be useful some day," and then pulled coverings over her head again. But Catherine walked sadly down the hill and went straight to her lady, the silken ball, which was at the end of all her high hope. "What shall you do with me?" she asked. "It is not worth 6 pence and is no good to me." "Take care of it," replied her mistress. "Who can tell how useful it may be?" A little while after this, grand preparations were made for the king's marriage, and all the tailors in the town were busy embroidering fine clothes. The wedding garment was so beautiful, nothing like it had been seen before. But when it was almost finished, the tailor found that he had no more silk. The color was very rare, and none could be found like it, and the king made a proclamation that if anyone happened to possess any, they should bring it to court, and he would gladly give them a large sum. "Catherine!" exclaimed the lady, who had been to the tailor's and seen the wedding garment, "your ball silk is exactly the right color. Bring it to the king, and you can ask for what you like for it." Then Catherine put on her best clothes, went to the court, looking more beautiful than any other woman there. "May it please your majesty," she said, "I brought you a ball of silk of the color you asked for, as no one else has any in the town." "Your majesty," said one of the courtiers, "shall I give the maiden its weight in gold?" The king agreed, and a pair of scales were brought, and a handful of gold were placed in one scale and the silken ball in the other. But lo! But the king lay in the scales as many gold pieces as you would. The silk was heavier still. Then the king took some large scales and heaped up all his treasures on one side, but the silk on the other outweighed them all, as there was only one thing that would put in, and that was his golden crown. And he took it from his head and set it on top of it all, and at last the scale moved, and the ball had found its balance. "Where have you got the silk?" asked the king. It was given to me, royal majesty, by my mistress," replied Catherine. "This is not true," said the king, "and if you do not tell the truth, I will have your head off this instant." So Catherine told him the whole story and how she had once been rich as he. Now lived at the court a wise woman, and she said to Catherine, "You have suffered much, my poor girl, but at length your luck has turned. And know by balancing the scales through the crown that you will die a queen." "So she shall," cried the king, who overheard these words. "She shall die my queen, for she is more beautiful than all the ladies of the court. I will marry no one else. And so it fell out. The king sent back the bride he had promised to wed in her own country. But the same day Catherine was queen at the end of the marriage feast and said, and lived happy ever after and contented to the end of her life. Never again was Queen Catherine annoyed or persecuted by her destiny. Happy with her king, she had all her powers to make others happy as well. She lived to a good old age and never had reason to regret being chosen to overcome all her trials and troubles with the strength of her youth, putting off all till her later years the happiness she was so richly entitled to. And that's the end of that story. See you later.